You are now entering the box. Welcome back to Inside the Box. Today we have Landon with Knob Hill. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Morning. How are you?
Good. Doing all right. Rainy day. Good. Perfect time for you to come in here.
Yes, perfect timing for
Has
sure.
it actually started raining yet? I haven't even paid attention.
Not right now, no. It rained last night, of course, yesterday, and then probably by the time we get done here, it'll be raining again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How frustrating is that for just like trying to get, it just throws everything off.
Oh, you're right. One rain day usually affects our schedule anywhere from 3 to 5 days, honestly.
Yeah.
It is frustrating, but I don't know. I've been doing it so long that you it is what it is. You're not gonna predict it as much as you want to. You're not gonna prevent it, and you kind of just have to roll with it and have the plan to move forward. So we have a lot of what we call rain day things that can always be done.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have to is there a lot of instances where you have to let it, if it rains a lot, you have to let it dry out a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Usually, like I said, it can affect your schedule 3 to 5 days. So with that being said, sometimes you do have to just literally there's no way you can go physically work on that project without really making it a bigger mess and causing you more work, inefficiency with the mud. You're cleaning machines and nobody likes to be working and tromping around with mud all over them, the shoes, pants, all that stuff. So, but with that being said, sometimes schedules and things kind of push you into those situations where you have to go and fight the mud, so to speak. Kind of that discussion that we were having before we started about me putting us under a self-imposed deadline for our new showroom. Ideally, we wouldn't have been working there this morning because it's kind of a disaster right now, but we need to keep moving forward, and we kind of already know that we've created a mess there anyway. We're going to have some cleanup days and some repair days, so to keep the project moving, we were pouring a concrete footing this morning for a fireplace. That needed to be done today, so Monday we can be moving forward. Otherwise, this would set us back another day on Monday. So, like I said, sometimes pushes you 3 to 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you usually calculate in when you're figuring out the time of a job? Okay, I'm going to at least throw in a couple extra days.
Yeah, absolutely. It always depends on the project and the length of that project. But, when you're going to be there 3 or 4 weeks working on a project, you kind of figure your budget based on if this weather's perfect, this is where we'd be. Chances are we're going to have about 25% of those days might be wet or something. So, yeah, you kind of have to build that in, so to speak.
Yeah. It's always interesting in industries like yours where weather you have to play it for.
Dude, man, it is. We kind of have became a construction build company that works all through the year. So we fight it in the winter, we fight it in the spring, fall, the heat in the summer. I mean, we try to start really early in the summer months, so we can beat that heat, so to speak. Because a lot of it is physical outside labor, and you are 100% dependent on that weather for project efficiency and morale and everything.
Yeah.
So,
people not trying to kill each other from the 110 degrees.
Man, it's you go out there in the late spring, summer when those buffalo gnats are out, and people are angry.
Yeah, I didn't think about the bugs. And
stuff.
Yeah,
dude, for sure. But yeah.
So, you guys have really been doing some awesome stuff lately.
Yeah, thank you. We've been
probably longer than I even know. But
yeah, maybe. This is our 15th season, and we've been lucky enough to have worked on some really cool projects and with some really great people, great customers that really gave us that creative freedom to do our thing. And we've been lucky enough to have that noticed on a national level. We've actually won 3 national awards in the last 18 months. That's something
crazy.
that definitely. For what I call our little company in little Springfield, Illinois, to be even recognized on that level is pretty special.
Yeah, no, definitely. You should be proud of that, man. So 15th season, so what would that be? You would have got started back in 10?
Correct. We started the business in actually January 2011, so this is our 15th. Right now is our 15th season. Previous to that, I was in the industry for about 5 years, working in the lawn care industry kind of in Springfield, all of Central Illinois. I did that for a while, about 5 years, and then kind of gravitated towards landscaping and had an opportunity to kind of do our own thing, and kind of the rest is history, so to speak.
Yeah. So what what kind of pushed you towards that?
Which part? The switching, kind of moving over to landscaping?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lawn care and lawn maintenance is very repetitious, kind of same thing over and over and over, so to speak. Landscaping definitely brings in the creative element, and I guess not even knowing that I was creative growing up, but kind of as it evolved, I find myself a very creative person with everything that I do, and is what I enjoy doing. So it kind of just became the thing that, I love nothing more than going to a clean backyard and building some awesome outdoor living space that literally changes the way people spend times with their family. And once you see how that affects your clients, and you go from initial idea, dream in their head, and then turn it into reality. And like I said, it does change their lives. They're changing how they host parties, how they spend time with the family, all those things. That just kind of, like I said, as I've evolved through our company and the business, that became something that I just really, really love to do. So It was kind of, I don't want to say it was easy to gravitate towards it because I figured I was creative, but building something from nothing, and that was literally just an idea in their head, and then see how they enjoy it, man, it's there's nothing better.
Yeah. So back in 2011, getting started, does I'm sorry, I feel like I'm getting like a lot of outside noise or something. Did you turn his mic up a lot, or?
Same thing.
Weird. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm not getting anything, so.
Maybe it's just my headphones. Anyway, back in 2011, so like just moving into this, was it just you by yourself getting started?
So basically it was me. I did have a business partner when we first started, and then we had 2 guys on a crew, and we just we had been working for that other company, so we kind of built a little footprint in the area. And then we just saw an opportunity, and so it was really just about 4 of us to start. Maybe, it's hard for me to remember back then, maybe we got up to maybe like 5 or 6 employees that season, the first season, and they were basically seasonal. We were only working about 8 months of the year back then.
Yeah.
We weren't into all of the construction type projects like we are now. I mean, at that time, you take every lead that comes in, and you're trying to sell everything you can sell and get to every person that calls you, and we've been fortunate enough that we're able to, find our ideal client at this point and work on the projects that we really are good at and that we can do the best. So, but
it's hard to make that change though,
Oh man.
Especially like during the transition period, like, because I didn't even know with us, like anything that came in, I was like, yeah, we can do that. Like, this little graphic, let's do it. Like,
you take it all, man, because it's all about building your business, and it's how you're feeding your family.
Yeah.
So
you're afraid
and then next thing you know,
not have the opportunity tomorrow.
Oh, it's absolutely the truth. You want to go after everything, and we still do to a certain extent, but making that transition to knowing, what you're really good at and recognizing that it's growth of the business, it's evolving as a manager and an owner, and being able to recognize that okay, we if I literally chase every single call, I'm never going to get through all of them, and when your staff and everybody you've hired and what you do, sometimes you're better at certain things, and so you kind of want to make sure that those are the jobs you're doing,
right?
And so it kind of naturally evolves to focusing on what you're really good at. And sometimes you're like, well, we're a landscape company, but we don't do any mowing or any type of work like that. I hire a guy to mow my own yard. So like,
did you used to when you were first getting started?
When we first got started, we did. Yeah. Till probably maybe about 2013, we were kind of full service, all the things. But like I said, it kind of evolved to where you kind of have to take a path sometimes.
Yeah.
And,
you're kind of competing against a lot of
it's different.
Lowest cost,
correct.
Basically.
Definitely maintenance and service is a different industry than design and build like we do. So me wanting to move towards a more creative outlet, it kind of just naturally we're like, okay, we're getting enough leads, enough calls that we should just really be building outdoor spaces, doing landscaping, and not doing service. And like I said, sometimes your staffing changes and you need to make adjustments because of that too. And at that point, it was like, okay, we've been running around crazy for 3 years chasing everything. Now let's really start to focus on what we're good at and what we like to do, and go that way. And it's still evolving. I mean, our projects are not the same as they were 5 years ago. different size, different scope, different skill set with our people. Even me as a designer and a manager, all of it kind of evolves together.
So you said you worked somewhere first. Did you find yourself like when you were doing like mowing and stuff like that, like just looking at yards, like, man, it'd be cool to do this in this person's yard? Or
yeah, I think absolutely. You once you're in that industry and that's what you're doing, you naturally are more, you see it more and you see the opportunities more. So you see one beautiful backyard, and then you go to the next one and they're like, man, they should do what those guys are doing. You know, like that would be beautiful here or a part of that or whatever. So I think naturally every property I step on, I start to see that. And that's what, I don't know, that's what keeps you going as a designer and selling. And the next new project is when you go there, you're like, oh man, this would be so cool if we did this like that last job. Yeah. You know, and combine the special parts of each one of those jobs into one.
Yeah. You think that's just a creative person thing or something? Because even I find myself doing that with basically everything. Whether I'm in my backyard or my kitchen or my front room or whatever, I'm always looking like, man, it'd be really cool.
Dude, I think I agree. I do. I think it's the creative mind that takes you that way. I'm the same way. If it's landscaping, yes, but just like you said, you know, there's stuff with our website that I'm like, man, we should do this, or just like what you're saying, in your house, man, it'd be really cool if we had this painted this color or a stone fireplace over here or whatever. So I think it's just a creative mind.
It's almost exhausting. My mind's always like going, oh my God.
Almost exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. My wife would 100% agree with that. Yeah. What do you want to do now?
Yeah.
And it's even like what we're doing, you know. Was I looking for a second location? Was I looking for another showroom? No. The opportunity just kind of came my way, and then it evolved into what it's evolving into. Even when we bought the place last year.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So the new place is down here off of Old Jack.
Yep, right on the corner of Meadowbrook and Old Jack.
And it used to be
a small landscape company that predominantly did, I would say like maintenance, softscape stuff, not like design, build, construction.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was there. I'd seen that little corner spot
It's a beautiful little spot, but up until now, it was very enclosed and kind of hidden. You couldn't really tell what was going on there. So now we're kind of doing the opposite. We're building a nice fountainscape out on the corner that gets all that traffic down Old Jack, and we're opening it up to kind of see the space a little bit more. And we're turning it into another showroom display area, but it's going to be less like a display and more like what I would call a model home. So very, very much like if someone called us and said, hey, I really want to update my space. I haven't done anything for 30 years. I'd like to add a patio, an outdoor fireplace, and maybe a fountain. That's kind of what we're doing.
Come out,
you'll be able to come there and you'll see all those elements and how they flow together, and with the plants and the softscape beds, all those things. So I wasn't looking for it. I was doing a walk around Horseman, our project down there, 2 days after Christmas. And the previous owner of that property just happened to be walking through there and approached me, introduced herself, and 2 months later we had a deal to acquire the business and the property. And I saw right then the opportunity for that visibility. And we have a really beautiful showroom at our other location up by the airport, but definitely off the beaten path.
Right.
And we do
that is an awesome spot.
We do. Thank you. We do a lot of work on the west side of Springfield, of course. So it's just, here's an opportunity to get a little bit more visibility and a footprint over here.
Right.
And like I said, even at the beginning, I was like, we don't need to change much. Just trim some trees, and the place is beautiful. And as it evolved over this whole year, my just like we were talking, my brain kept going, and I'm like, man, I should change this a lot. Like this should be a footprint of exactly what we would do.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening. It's all new sidewalks, new patio, covered patio, beautiful new fountainscape out on the corner there. Outdoor fireplace, outdoor kitchen going in, all this to be done in about a month. So on a self-imposed deadline. If I don't do that, it'll never get done. So because we do have a lot of other things going, and we are doing this in between a busy spring season, all the other projects going. So we have multiple crews bouncing in and out of there, and that's again why kind of we had to fight the mud today. So we have to stay on that schedule.
Yeah, that fountain that you have set up there got going. It looks freaking awesome. I was looking at I've seen it driving by, and when you guys were first putting it in, but I was looking at some of the video that Ryan got. I was like, oh man, that's looking good.
Yeah, and even that we weren't even quite finished then. It's mostly wrapped up. We still have to install the lighting, that's going to be the other thing. The place is going to be beautiful during the day, but we've got about
once you light that up.
We've got about 70 color changing lights going in that whole property, from the fountain to down lights in the trees and up lights on the buildings.
Nice.
So it's really going to showcase really what we can do as a designer installer.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's got to be kind of fun doing it like in it, because I mean you have some of that stuff done at your other place, but again,
the other place is definitely commercial showroom type. You don't get the yard, you don't get the different textures that you have when you do it in someone's backyard. So it is beautiful. It works great. But this, like I said, this is a little bit more exactly what you would see if you walked into your backyard after we designed something for you. So it's very exciting to be able to kind of make it exactly what you have in your head. When we do it for a customer, we're trying to match what's in their head.
Yeah.
But this is like, I don't want to say free reign, but I'm getting the opportunity to really showcase our style of design as a designer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. Like, just all the people that live right there, and then people driving out to that golf course and driving to Pleasant Plains.
Yeah, 20,000 cars a day.
Yeah.
So pretty good amount of traffic.
Yeah, no, that'll be cool. I can't wait to see the lights on everything.
Yeah, I am too. We kind of always do those at the end of the project or pretty close to the end, so it'll be a minute yet. But I'm planning to get that water feature lit up this coming week. So
nice.
I'm really excited about that. Landscape lighting is a game changer for any project that we do.
Do you have to plan a lot of that? I imagine you have to plan, have the whole. I mean, you guys do these amazing digital, drawings, interactive that we'll get into, but I imagine all the wiring and stuff. Do you have to kind of do that before you get into?
Correct. So we do a lot of what I call groundwork or infrastructure as we're building the project, and then literally installing the fixtures is one of the last things, because you don't want those around while you're doing construction. Right. It's kind of one of the last things that you do. But we'll run wiring, conduits under sidewalks. We know where our transformer location is going to be. We have to scout all that out before we even design the project, so we know where things go and what our access to power is and all those type of things. But all the groundwork is done kind of at the same time, whether it's for lighting or irrigation or any of those type of things. You're doing that as you're building what I call your hardscape, so your patios, sidewalks, all that stuff goes in first, and then the fixtures are kind of last. Once you got plants in and you're bedding, whether it's rock or mulch or whatever, then you're installing those lights.
Yeah. And you guys have been doing some really awesome water features. When did you start offering that?
Oh man, we've been doing them for a long time. Probably 2 or 3 years into the business, we started doing some small fountain bubbler type things that I would say really simple water features. We became a certified aquascape contractor 2 seasons ago, just before we did the Horseman project. And what that means is that's a manufacturer of water feature components, meaning filters, pumps, those type of things. And they have a full training program, online, in person, different events that you have to stay up on every year, and which kind of allows you access to the certain products that they have, but it really helps your training and your staff and your growth as a company in installing those things. So I would say we've really been about 5 seasons, 6, really doing larger water feature projects, from small koi ponds to the Horseman project. We do a few recreational swim ponds, so natural swimming pools as opposed to in-ground chlorinated pools. We do both, but we do a lot of those natural swimming ponds too.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept too, the natural swimming ponds.
It's very, very interesting. Something I was kind of foreign to until we really got into the aquascape part of things. All naturally filtered with different layers of rock and gravel, water flow, waterfalls, the fish, plants. You're creating a complete backyard ecosystem that balances itself over a few years, and that's what really helps that water quality be crystal clear. If you've ever been down by Horseman, any time of the year you go through that place, that water is crystal clear all the time.
Yeah, and talk about a project. Jeez.
Jesus, right. Jesus, right.
That is crazy. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. It's one we definitely took a lot of pride in. I recognized the opportunity when it came to me right off the bat, just because of the location being in the middle of downtown, visibility, all those things. Our staff recognized the size, scope of that you don't get those calls every day.
Yeah. Was that a scary project once you
Oh man!
They're like, okay, we're doing it. You're like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how could it not be? I mean, yes, it's located in the middle of downtown, which is great for visibility, but that's terrible for logistics. Terrible. We were able to reserve 3 parking meters on one side of the street. That's where we had to bring in every bit of material had to come in, and every bit had to go out, which was over 750 tons of boulders and 300 or 400 ton of river rock and cobbles. About 1,500 tons of material went into there, and we took out about
my back just
we
thinking of it.
we had to excavate and tear out the old fountain that was there. That was like 700 yards of concrete that all had to come out.
Think about that.
All that had to go out before we could even start. We started that project in November. We had to work all through an Illinois winter, which is crazy by itself.
Yeah, and didn't you have some...
we had a deadline. We had to be done by the first week of May, which, as you know, spring, it could rain all of April and you don't get to work at all. So started in November and had to finish our largest project to date over the middle of the winter in 6 months.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me some of the, didn't you say you set up a big tent or something to be able to work in there?
So what we did was, knowing that we were starting that in November, going to go through the winter, I literally had a 90-day calendar twice that I literally scheduled out every single day for 6 months on my wall in my office. And I had self-imposed deadlines based on the time of the year, weather being cold. It's not super cold in November and December, gets cold in February. So we kind of planned our project, how we were going to come around there finishing it, plus access limited us to how we could get in and around that project. So we had to start at a certain point, but we had to come around because of access, and we planned to where that project being so big as a water feature, it had a couple seams in the liner. Well, if you know anything about seaming a pool liner or a rubber liner, you cannot do that when it's frozen. You need temperatures to be 65, 70 degrees at least. So we knew we were going to have a seam that was going to be in the middle of February, and we planned it to be lined up our liners so the seam went right underneath the existing bridge that was there. So in the middle of February, we tented off the whole bridge with tarps, rented a heater and piped heat underneath of that bridge, and got it to 75 degrees. It was 25 degrees outside, and underneath that bridge we had it at 75, so we could seam that liner and make sure it worked how it was supposed to. We didn't have a failure on it or anything. So, but that took literally, like I said, planning that from November to knowing sometime in the middle of February we need to be under that bridge. And when we were laying out those liners in November, we made sure that we had to put 1 down and 2, and then when we got to that third one, looking at the calendar, we had to be at that by a certain point. So yeah, it was logistically a nightmare, all the things. But one thing that was good about it, working in the winter, that allowed us to have every member of our staff focused on one project. Yeah. Like right now, I think we have 6 projects going, or 7, plus our showroom. Everybody's everywhere right now. And that's normal. We're working through the season. You've got ones that you can get opened, and then you got to wait for a subcontractor, or it rains, or whatever. So we pretty steadily have 5 crews out working. But with that being said, you usually have 2 or 3 more open jobs that you're working through. But doing the Horseman project in the winter allowed all of my foremen, all of my managers, myself, we were focused on one project.
Mm-hmm. That'd be kind of nice.
It was nice. It was interesting. It's the only reason that we were able to do it like that and get it done when we needed to. We actually finished 30 days ahead of time with several change orders on top of that.
Wow.
So we got very lucky, but there was meticulous planning and staying with that schedule and making adjustments when
what a good representation of just showing not only what you could do, but how big of a project you could handle.
Absolutely. It put us on the radar for sure for some of those larger size projects, commercial projects.
'Cause, yeah, you got to think someone's spending that money. It's like, how do we know that this company is going to be able to do it?
Oh, yeah, they took a huge risk on us. I mean, Horseman is a $1 billion trade, publicly traded company, and they're used to dealing with much larger commercial general contractors. This project was so specialized that we were one of the only ones that were trained and able to do that. But man, they took a huge risk on a very small local company, and I commend them for that.
I was going to say, yeah,
for sure, because
awesome.
you know how that is when you get that many layers in management, things go up. That sometimes it is just about that bottom line. And they took a chance with us, trusted us, believed in our creative ability, and yeah, we have a great relationship with them, a great partnership moving forward.
So you were telling me about how that whole ecosystem works over there. So can you break down kind of a little bit about that with the water flow and the filtration?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you start kind of on the north end of the property up by the building, there's what we call the wetland filter. And that's kind of like, the kidneys of the ecosystem. So that's where it's filtering out all the bad debris and bacteria and all those things. But it's a really shallow water area that's about the size of it's 36 by 40 by 5 feet deep. So it's about the size of 2 normal in-ground swimming pools in someone's backyard. And majority of our pumps actually enter into that from the bottom, and they push that water up through those layers of rock to filter out the particles and contaminants. And then that water is pushed up, and then that becomes the first major waterfall that goes down to the main pond. So it's actually form and function. So it's filtering all of that, but then that creates your waterfall that's, obviously eye appealing. And the part that you focus on, that waterfall comes over into the main pond, and all that water flowing creates a lot of dissolved oxygen in that water, which helps the habitat for the fish. So those waterfalls are super important to keep the water oxygenated, and that's why we have 3 of them, because the project's about 200 feet long. So we have water features strategically placed there. The big one that's filtering, and then we have 2 more that also filter, but they're creating more oxygen and kind of helping that water flow that goes south down under the bridge. The main pond is about 3 feet deep, 3.5, and it gets a little shallower as it goes under that bridge towards the other end, which is kind of a part that we call the intake bay, which also means basically like a pool skimmer. So it gets shallower and the water flow speeds up, and it helps bring all your surface debris to that end. So you're really only having to clean and skim surface debris on the very far south end of the pond. Most of our pumps are located down there, so that's pulling all the water down to that end, and then it recirculates all the way back underground to the north. So you're creating a circulation pattern, which is key to that water being clear also. We move about 90 to 100,000 gallons an hour there.
Wow.
And the whole project is about 170,000 gallons. So we're turning over that whole pond every 2 hours, which helps oxygenate the water for the fish, keeps the debris down on the other end for maintenance, but keeps that water clear with it flowing.
Okay. And do plants help with that
play
also?
A super key role to that. We have several shallow water type plants up in that filter area, and then all along the edges of the pond, irises, lilies, all kinds of different floating water plants. It's like I said, we're trying to mimic Mother Nature, so it takes the water. Which is a hard
thing to do.
Oh man, it's impossible almost. But when you got to have all those components. So you got to have the water, you got to have the rock, you got to have the plants, and you got to have the fish. They all balance each other out. So the more plant growth you have in there, the more it's absorbing those nutrients in the water that creates less algae. So you don't have big algae blooms like you would on a normal pond or a lake. Like I said, the plants are absorbing that. The fish are eating any of that algae that's growing on the rocks.
It's interesting that fish play a
huge
You would
role.
think that it would be the opposite.
Yeah, they play a huge role. Now you got to make sure that you have those other things so they have something to eat, and they're not too many. The water's flowing. We built several fish caves down in the lower part, so they have places to go to hide from. Like we'll have some predator issues with ducks and geese and things like that. So they have place to go until the plants kind of fill out and give them more places to hide. We place different wood wood type log structures in there to help that too, because different types of bacteria grow on rock compared to the woody type materials. And just like I said, in Mother Nature, lakes, rivers, streams, you always have down logs or whatever along the shoreline, all that all plays a part to that biomimicry of Mother Nature.
So do you put real wood then?
Real wood, yeah. I'm lucky enough that I live out in the country and I have some timber, so we harvested just down logs and tree roots, those type of things, and we strategically placed them throughout the pond. Those all came from my house out in the country, but
Nice.
that's key to making it look more natural for sure, but it plays a part in that balancing that whole ecosystem.
Yeah. Jeez, that's crazy, man. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and so right, and so like I said, we've always had built some fountains and ponds. I really got into the ecosystem through the aquascape classes and the training, and it's something that it combines what I love to do, building things, but then also like the natural part of it, man. When you're trying to like make it look non-man-made, I mean that's challenging.
Yeah.
And so you're able to create something special, but then the challenging part, making it look like Mother Nature did it, not just like building a block retaining wall that has specs and plans. So like, we can say, here's a pond, put the boulders there, but that's like in your head how you want that to look, and to make that happen and then make it then be able to function like it does. Yeah, it's I don't know, something I really love to do.
Yeah. And you have like, I've seen this awesome 3D rendering software that you guys have where you can basically show exactly what it's going to look like, which is just amazing. How long have you guys been using that?
I believe we started that in maybe 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that of course evolves over the years too. There's always updates and it gets more realistic and all those things. But that definitely was a game changer for our sales and design department for sure.
Yeah, it's going to make a huge difference.
It's most people, they'll come in and say, I have this idea, but I'm not very visual. I don't know I don't know what it's going to look like. And if you're just doing a 2D drawing, that's really hard to portray to somebody when you are building such a 3-dimensional project. The software definitely allows us to take their idea from their head, put it on a screen in front of them, and make those changes. They're like, yeah, I like that, but I'd like to see this a little bit different. And a few clicks and you change it, and it allows us to give them a walkthrough view of it where they'd see it from their level, an overhead view so they can see the whole size of the project. It allows us to change it from the time of day, so we're able to showcase those lights, and that's why I'm saying lighting is so important. And we rarely have a project that we do not put lighting on. And I would say it's almost 90% because of that software allows me to say, here it is at noon, well here it is at 9 o'clock. You have the fire going in the fire pit and all these undermount lightings, and people are just like, wow. So that's been very I say a very big part of us growing our design staff and growing the size of projects and getting those projects to people that they could see it before we build it. It allows us to age plants so we can show the plants, here's what it is now, here's in 5 years. All those type of things is really cool. Helps in the sales department.
How hard is it? Like, so you have this beautiful design, you can show what it looks like. How hard is it to then go mimic that design, like what you're showing, and find the right rocks and find the right...
So the natural stone part of it, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
And there's a clause on my thing that says, this is just a 3D rendering. Natural stone will look much different than this. So you get the overall shape and size of things. And then with having a showroom, we have boulders around it. I can say, this is the type of boulder you're going to get. This is the color, the moss, the lichens growing on it. This is what we work with. But ultimately, you still have to convince them to trust your creativity on those type of projects, because it's going to be a pond and it's going to be a 18 by 20 and this deep, but 3D graphic boulders look nothing like. I mean, you never know what you're going to get when you build those. You're ordering boulders by the ton, and you get so many different sizes and shapes, and they're all natural, so none of them are the same. So you have to work with what you have and try to make it look really close to that design.
Yeah.
But with the natural stone, waterfalls, ponds, it's just going to give you the overall shape and visual picture of it, as compared to like a paver patio or a retaining wall. It's going to look, we're going to be almost spot on to exactly what that design looks like. The natural stone part, you still have to convince that client to trust your creativity and your vision.
Yeah, I just picture like trying to take that design, just even on the Horseman thing, and then laying it all out and making it work. It's just
correct. There was definitely changes throughout it when, like I said, you don't know if every boulder is going to be 3 foot long, 3.5 foot, 2 foot, this, that, all the shapes. And it's like Tetris. You're putting them together to make it look like that, but it still has to work. It still has to be functional.
Yeah.
So yes, is that waterfall that we build going to look just like that design? No, it's not even. And you don't want it to.
Right.
You want it to be as natural as possible. So we've been lucky to have the opportunity to build a few of those, so I can refer to a previous project. This is the design for this one, and this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, they're still trusting your vision, and we've been fortunate enough to have those special projects to refer to. And so, if someone asks me about a waterfall or pond, I will say, "Have you been to Horseman yet?"
Yeah.
No.
Check it out.
Go and then we'll talk. And most of the time, it's like, okay, just do it how you do it.
Yeah.
So
it's nice too, because that's like you can't really send someone to someone's backyard.
No, you're right. You're right. There's a whole
go by John's backyard and check it out. It looks nice.
Right. I mean, we still do that every now and then, but you have to get permission, and I usually take them there. I'm not just sending someone to someone's house. You know what I mean? But that one, open to the public. Go down at your own time. Walk through it. Take your time. Yeah, it's like I said, when that project even came to us, all those things were clicking in my head.
Yeah.
That the opportunities down the road for everything downtown, but just it's our third showroom, where we have one, we're building a second one, and that one's the other one. So it's really, really beneficial for selling anything.
Yeah. Open up a showroom right across the street.
Yeah.
Office right across the street. It's like, come down to our office.
Yeah, dude. Trust me, it's crossed my mind. We send people there. Almost every new big project, I either take them there or they've been there.
Yeah.
So it definitely would be convenient.
What kind of fish are in there? Is it koi?
They're almost all koi. There's a few goldfish.
Okay.
We tend to recommend, or people tend to gravitate towards those compared to like your more native species, just because of the color.
Right.
If we had a bunch of blue,
can you do?
Oh yeah, you could put any type of like native fish, farm pond fish, any type of that in there. You could have catfish in there, bluegill, bass.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
people be in there fishing.
You might have people fishing, but they're not as visible. So like you're standing on the patio or the bridge, you're not going to see those as much. But
right.
You got these bright orange and gold and yellow and all those fish. And goldfish are a little more active too. They climb up the waterfalls. I've seen them climb all the way up to the top.
Really?
That's a 4.5 foot drop
Wow.
from the top of that wetland down to that main pond, and they will swim up those streams.
Really?
Yes, it's. I didn't believe it at first either. I thought the security guy was crazy when he told me he saw it, but then I saw it myself too. So in Japan, they're known as the flying fish, and that's kind of in Japan folklore. The koi is what turns into a dragon. Once it learns and grows enough to fly up the waterfall, it flies up and becomes a dragon.
Huh.
So it's really kind of an interesting thing. Yeah, but the bright colors and all that is what really tends to get people to gravitate towards stocking them with those.
I understand that.
Yeah.
More visually appealing.
It's more visually appealing for sure. That's the main reason, and they're more active and all those things.
So, besides the weather, what was like some of the biggest challenges that arose with that job that might have been unexpected or something?
Oh, weather, some of the logistics, when you're working all through the winter on a project like that, our weather is not the best. So with being a big construction project like that, you're tearing up the existing turf. You're making mud in the winter, not dirt. And all of our loads having to come in and out on Washington Street, we were literally every single day having a semi-load almost unloaded every day, 1 or 2 or 3. Because again, not a lot of places to stage all that material.
Yeah.
Even since I had 700 tons of boulders, that's 30. It's almost 35 truck semi-loads. I could store 2 semi-loads on the job site.
Yeah.
So almost every day we would install these, and we'd have to have different loads of different sizes because you want to mix in all the different sizes. So I couldn't say, bring me all these and then bring me all these. So I'd have to be like, bring me one load this size, bring me one load this size, and the next day it'd be like, well, we used all these, but we didn't use those. So I need that size and that size. But every day that truck was getting unloaded, it was dragging mud onto Washington Street.
Yeah.
So every day we were scraping and cleaning that street because we couldn't leave it on there. We try to really do a great job of keeping our job sites clean, and especially that one being downtown.
Yeah.
So kind of some of those extra inefficiencies from doing it through the winter and that size were probably a few things that popped up we weren't planning on. I mean, we knew we were going to have to come in through those spots, and there wasn't going to be a lot of staging area. But I think just the extra effort of dealing with the weather. I mean, a couple of days it got cold enough. Our machine tracks were frozen to the ground. Couldn't even move the machine. Yeah. So I mean, that wasn't exactly expected. But
this is a unique situation.
Yeah. But we did get very lucky and had a super mild winter. That took us roughly 100 working days to complete, and we only missed 11 days due to weather.
Oh, wow.
So, about 8 to 10 guys working on that for 100 working days.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty lucky then to have a pretty mild winter.
Dude,
Jeez.
It was super lucky. This past one, with the snow we had in January and February, it'd have been a lot different situation if we were working on that job. Yeah.
When you order the natural stone, how's that work? Is there like approximate size ranges or weight ranges that you can?
So I have a couple different suppliers. One that I've been using for a long time. That's I would say almost kind of like a smaller boutique type stone supplier, I guess. He is a guy that literally goes out to these different quarries and hand selects the boulders he wants to bring to his yard. And then I go hand select what he hand picked. So a lot of times I will go to his yard and I'll know that I need 5 tons of big ones, medium, small. Or if I don't have time to go down there, I'll usually get on the phone with him and he'll FaceTime me or send me pictures and he'll be like, I'm going to send you these 5 pallets. Does that work? And those are the ones I get. And I'm like, yeah, I want those 3, but back up, that one back there. I want that one too. So I've
technology, baby.
Yeah, dude. I've gotten really lucky that I've had a relationship with him, and he is a smaller place, but picks out really, really good stone that's very unique. And but yeah, a lot of times we order all by tonnage, but sometimes they're called small, medium, large, extra large. 1 man, 2 man, 3 man, depending on how many guys it takes to pick one up.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it depends on the supplier how they range those on their sizes.
Do you have to like break them or cut them ever, or does that mess up the look of them?
Very rarely do we cut them. We may break them or chip them with a hammer, chisel, some different drill bit type of situation. But you never really want that saw cut exposed. You were trying to keep it look natural.
So just like maybe on the bottom.
Yeah,
or
on the bottom, or if it needs to sometimes you do it to butt up against something else that's already there, whether it's a tree stump or log, something you might hide that cut to make it fit perfect. But most of the time, you're literally selecting them by their natural size. So you kind of, when you're doing a design for a pond and you're coming up with an estimate, you kind of have to know by experience that, okay, for scale, I need this many ton of this size.
Yeah.
And this pond's not real big, so I don't need any large ones. Or opposite of Horseman, I need 50 truckloads of large ones, So you try to not mechanically alter them too much because that can show that it's man-made.
Right.
Yeah.
Has it been hard to, what am I trying to say? Has it been hard to hone that skill of picking out the right ones that are going to work together? And
Oh man, we had just discussions about that this week. It does. It takes just experience. It takes working with the stone, not getting frustrated because you can get boulder block, like writer's block. You're like, I got this boulder and I can't find the next one. Like, I've been messing with this thing for an hour and I put 3 in there and I took them out. I didn't like it. And you can get frustrated really quick. So it's one of those things, like I have this thing where I always say, you got to let them talk to you. You literally got to let the boulder, let it talk to you. Don't get frustrated. Go look through them, go back, let them talk to you. It'll, and it's weird. I know it's a weird thing to say, but they literally do. If you've been doing it long enough and you're going through them, you kind of start to see, I want this one and then I want these 3 next or that one at the end or whatever. But you got to kind of have a process. They come to you on a pallet. sometimes multiple ones on a pallet. I like to get them all spread out. I like to organize them and sort them by sizes. So I'll have all my small ones, medium, large ones, extra large, so I can kind of see them next to each other for scale.
She's on a big project
but
too.
Again,
that alone is a lot
you don't
of work.
have right. The Horseman one, we had guys that literally that's all they did all day was unpackage boulders and spread them out, so we could start picking them to put them in. And I don't know. It takes years of experience working with them and knowing what your overall goal is. And I always also say that you got to have one artist on the job. Like one guy has to understand where he's going with that idea. I'm starting with this one, and then I'm going with this one. And other guys can pick, could contribute. Like, hey, I think this one will be good. But there's one artist on the job, and it's usually the guy that's directing where those go. He's not the guy running the machine. It's the guy that's got the idea of where he's wanting to go with it. And right now, not everybody can do that. It's a thing that you have to like to do and have that creative eye, and you have to let the stone talk to you. But one artist on the job to know where you're going with the whole thing. So. And on most of our natural stone projects, that's still how I get involved in the field, is on those type of situations. And I may not be there all day with them, but I'll be like, hey, I got an idea. Let's start with this one and this one. And then that's like, oh yeah, I see where you're going with this. And then I kind of let them run with it, and then we'll follow up the next day and how's it going? And yeah, this looks great, but maybe just tweak that one right there or swap this one with this one. And so, but one artist on those type of jobs.
Yeah, I could understand that for sure. Yeah, just standing there I can just picture it.
Oh man, like I said, just this week it was happening, and we got to a certain part, building a wall over there at our new display or our new showroom, and it kind of got a little frustrating. And it was a couple of our guys, and they always get mad at me because I'll walk up and be like, yeah, just switch that one to that one, and they're like, yeah, you're right. That works. And then they go, like, they'll get as far as
I'll move this giant boulder.
They'll get as far as they were in the last hour. Then the next 30 minutes, they'll go twice as far. But it can be frustrating. But you just kind of have to have that creative eye of where you're going with the project, and be patient. Yeah, it's going to be slower than building a retaining wall, but that going into it.
Yeah.
So,
how what are some ways that you deal with like creative blocks? When you've got a project and you're working on it and this isn't working, that's not working. Oh, I don't know. You know what I mean? Do you have any kind of methods or anything you do or that helps?
Yeah, I don't know if I have methods per se, but I think kind of going back to being patient, I guess. Sometimes I just have to step away from what I'm working on.
Yeah, I find that is the biggest thing.
I get my head in it.
I've been doing this too long. I got to step away.
I got to step away, and maybe sometimes it's just for 5 minutes. Maybe it's an hour. Maybe it's 2 days. And then kind of maybe I go work on something else, or just don't think about it for a minute. I always joke that I thought of this last night in my sleep. That's what I tell the guys all the time. Like, I got an idea. I literally thought of this in my sleep last night. And it was getting away from just being so focused on it,
Yeah.
So I don't know that I have any go-to things other than just take a step back. You can get your head down so much that you're focused on right there. Take a step back, get your head up, look at what you're working on, and if you need to take a minute, take a minute. Sometimes I'll have guys that.
How about like I know you gave me that book of like a bunch of award-winning projects that you guys were featured in. You got a lot of stuff like that.
Definitely. If I'm doing any of the natural stone type of things, or even a more contemporary outdoor space, I might get on Google retaining wall with steps and Google some just images, just to like I'm stuck on this. I don't know exactly which way to turn that, and then just start flowing through those images and like, oh man, that looks cool. I bet I could do that here. And sometimes that helps, definitely comes to you faster when you get stuck. Like, I just don't know how to make this flow. Because that's part of probably something that is one of the hardest things sometimes when you're building an outdoor space. You're wanting the whole thing to flow together, all the parts, patio, pool, pond, fire pits. You want it to flow, and sometimes depending on existing structures in your way or the elevation changes in the back of a property limits your space of how you can overcome those. So sometimes, you just need to take a step back, research some of your old projects even maybe. But yeah, sometimes I'll just, like I said, get on there and Google what I'm trying to do and look through some images, and usually I'll find something that's like, all I needed was to make that right turn.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that's been super interesting with us that probably doesn't play as much of a factor with you guys right now, but using AI and just talking back and forth with it, like on different ideas for marketing or content creation or logo design or whatever it is, just like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is kind of a rough idea I have. What, you know what I mean? Just talking to it, and it's like talking back to you. And I'm like, I feel like I'm just bouncing ideas off somebody. This is great.
Yeah, it is great. I use it. It's kind of the same thing on administrative side of things for us. So like, building job descriptions, all kinds of different training type things, training manuals. Our employee handbook type situations. I use AI for that quite a bit. I haven't tackled it or done much of it on a design standpoint for what we do.
I wonder what it would do with the image generation is crazy,
it's crazy
on it now.
Yes, for sure. I think sometimes I haven't went into it for design purposes yet too much. Just because I haven't really needed to.
Yeah.
I've needed it for the other things. Not that I won't, but I just haven't explored it much yet.
Yeah. I wonder how it would do with that. Sometimes it struggles, sometimes with certain things, you know. It used to be terrible at words. Like words, you'd be like, put this word in there, and it would be like, not spell it right. I'm like, I literally just told you exactly how to spell it. So they've just updated it. It's actually pretty good now. But I was doing one the other day, just playing with their new image generation, and I had it design a graphic with certain words in it, and then I was like, change the font to this, to like the brand font, change the font to exactly the brand. I was like, man, this is getting pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
It's craziness.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, like I said, I could see us definitely going that way in the future for sure. At least
it'll probably somehow incorporate into your software at some point.
I bet absolutely. Yeah
that'll be interesting to see how that affects it. It's affecting everything. So it's just how it plays in. Does that book I was talking about though, you were featured in that for a project. Yep. That was, I'm trying to remember if that was the one with the natural swimming pool.
That is a natural swimming pool or recreational pond. Yep, that was the Aquascape Hands of the Artist book.
How cool is that?
It's super cool. It's kind of like I said, becoming a certified aquascape contractor, we were allowed the opportunity to submit a project for that book. It was chosen.
Beautiful book too.
It's absolutely beautifully done, beautifully put together. I use it as a great sales tool on almost all my consultations, that type of thing. Features contractors from all over the country, all over the world actually, and projects from all sizes, small, big, huge, like Horseman. But it definitely is a great tool for when I'm trying to sell somebody on just the thought of one of those. What's that even look like?
Yeah.
There's multiple ones in there. That one is a recreational swim pond in a backyard. Recently won a Silver National Award this year. We did that one about 3 years ago. It's about a 30 by 45, 4-foot deep natural swimming pool with a complete wetland filter, like I mentioned Horseman has, just smaller scale. The whole waterfalls for the fish, intake-based skimmer thing, just smaller scale.
Yeah.
So that's the one great thing, or one of the great things about all the Aquascape products and materials and components of these things. They're all scalable.
Yeah.
So I used the exact same things in that person's backyard as we did for Horseman, just more of it. Bigger filter, deeper filter, more waterfalls, but you're just scaling it to the size of your ecosystem you're trying to build.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's pretty special. The pond, the recreational pond is part of the whole outdoor living space we did there. So there's an outdoor fireplace right off the side of it, nice patio, an outdoor kitchen. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. That again, someone trusted our ability to do it, our vision to do it, because yes, we built them a 3D design, and they're like, "Hey, those boulders look like potatoes." I'm like, "Yeah, they do look like brown potatoes. They won't look like that in real life, I promise." But
I'm not printing your boulders.
Yeah, right. So just getting over that fact and them trusting us to do that. That was kind of the that was the initial project that really got us going with the aquascape part of things. We had became certified right before that. And like I said, we had done some smaller ponds, but that was kind of our first recreational pond. And that water's crystal clear all year round. The kids swim in it in the summer. They
first one
ice skate on
featured
it.
in a book and won an award on it.
Book and won an award, and that was our very first recreational pond. So, like I said, I don't know. Building those is something that I love to do. You get to be very creative. All the parts are functional. I don't know. It's just so. Yes, we hit a home run right out of the bag with it, and it just, I don't know. It's something we all our staff loves building them.
Yeah.
And when you love doing what you do, not that it comes easier, but it does come. It is easier. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And it's rewarding when you're done, man.
Yeah.
Getting to see something like that, and then not on top of that, win the award, get featured in a book.
Get featured in a book that's everywhere, and being recognized by the National Association of Landscape Professionals. My wife and I went out to Charlotte to accept that award. So, I mean,
nice.
really, really cool thing. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. What has been, so you've been in business for like 15 years now. What's been one of the most challenging things in growing your business and starting it?
All kinds of things. Starting it for sure, growing it, not growing too fast. Because when you're the new kid on the block, sometimes things start coming right at you and not biting off more than you can chew, bigger things.
Sometimes I get mad at myself that I haven't grown Oopox faster, but then I'm like, well, I could have grown too fast, and it might have been bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's the truth. You can grow too fast, and your quality goes down, and you're trying to do all the same things you were doing, but you're trying to do so much more. I think one of the hardest things was pulling yourself out of the everyday, and like me being on every single project. I mean, I used to go to every single project twice a day. And I can't do that now. My value to the company isn't doing that. Mm-hmm. You know, my value to the company is other things. So pulling yourself out of that day to day, which is the thing that made you start the business in the first place, is the creative part, working outside. And now I find myself in the office most of the time, or in meetings or whatever. So
has that been hard?
Very. I
know I've struggled with that a lot.
It's been very hard. You always, you always are worried about, they're your clients. The business is you. So you want someone that represents you, and you want that project to be you. Mm-hmm. And when you're not on it every day, and getting that out of your head to work on these other things is really hard sometimes.
Yeah. I know it's hard. It's hard for me because, I mean, for our clients, we're pumping out a bunch of content for them, and it's like,
you can't.
Before it was like I was approving every single piece of content, and it's obviously I just can't do that now. So it's still making sure it's at the level it needs to be at.
Oh man, it's hard. I struggled with that for a long time. Once I really, I guess, learned to work on the business and not in the business, and I started really focusing on our processes and our systems, and making sure that I had a process written down for everything, so it wasn't just me telling somebody, this is what I have in my head, you should do that, and then tomorrow I'll be like, why didn't you do that, just like what was in my head? Right. So when I was able to understand that my value is building those and being clear and training and follow through is the hardest, I think. Everybody can build a training manual and have this whole process, but if you don't follow through with it and everybody be accountable for it, it goes nowhere. Yeah. So I think the follow through is the hardest part to learn. Once you've made the commitment to step away and grow your business, following through with everything is hard. And getting out of the middle of all of it, kind of getting out of your own way, so to speak, sometimes. Yeah. I've focused on hiring people that do the job better than I do. Yeah. I want somebody that is focused on production and ordering and materials and designing. I want those people focused on that, not like me trying to do all of the things. Mm-hmm. So, you want people to be better at you than what you hired them to do. And I've been lucky enough that I have a great staff that's evolved over the years. I mean, a great, great staff that gets better every day, grows every day. And getting everybody to understand that is hard, for sure. Yeah. To know that you're not just growing the business to grow you. Right. To know that you're growing the business to grow opportunities. I mean, just like you, how many opportunities have you created for people that you've grown? You needed to hire staff. I mean, I know I'm that way. You know, it was originally me doing payroll and ordering and selling and all that. You know, and we have administrative staff. I have a production manager. I have a field supervisor. We have a salesman, commercial sales, 3 designers. How many people is that? You know, that's 10, 11 people plus our field staff. We have 26 people on staff right now.
Wow.
That's 26 people that you're helping create an opportunity for. And I'm big on that. I am big on that within our staff and our organizational structure of, you know, we're growing this because I love doing what I'm doing, and it's creating opportunities for anybody that wants to step in there. Yeah.
Do you ever is there ever any times where you like what am I trying to say, like are challenged with like do you ever feel like unmotivated? Like, is there times it's just like, you know, things aren't going right, or all these problems, and you're just like, God damn, I just don't, you know what I mean? It's like,
how many times a day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's natural, man.
Yeah.
Just like I said, pulling yourself out of that. No one's going to do it as good as you think you're going to do it. Everybody knows that. You know what I mean? But you, like I said, you have to give that. You have to step back and know that where your value is in the company and where you're going with things. And yes, frustration knocks on the door every day, at least a couple times. And sometimes it's the same thing. Go outside, walk around, get your head out of it for a minute. Take a trip and be gone for a couple days. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely can build up on you. And I used to not handle that very well. You know, I used to get very frustrated and not handle it the best way. And as everybody grows and changes and evolves, I'm learning how to manage myself better. That helps me manage the people better.
yeah.
And
How about pressure? Like, do you feel a lot of, I mean, you got
man.
26 people.
Man.
It's like,
overhead,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, like, I don't even know how much equipment I bought this week. I mean, we're growing, so it's always a new truck. It's always a new machine. It's employees.
something breaks down.
Dude, it is.
Like,
And us being a design and build company that does not do a lot of maintenance, although we did just start a new landscape maintenance division, but it's new for us. So every year we start off from scratch. We have to sell to our revenue, to our goals, to pay payroll. So I've hired 26 people. I've grown to this. Now I have to stay there, or you have to let people go.
Yeah.
And I'm not into that. So you have to keep that going. So pressure of sales, pressure of the weather, pressure of getting jobs done on time and meeting your margins. And, oh, man, it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
Every business, I think, is that way. Some have more challenges than others, I think. But I think the pressure is natural. And I don't know. I think it's something you either get through, know how to get through, and strive off of, or it'll get you. You'll end up leaving the business or whatever.
Yeah. It's heavy.
It's heavy. Yeah, it is.
It's like carrying around one of those boulders.
I do.
All day.
2 or 3 of them, for sure, man. No, it is. And like I said, 5 years ago, we didn't have a second location. We had 10 employees. You know, now we're over double that. We're at second location. We're talking about possibly a third one in a couple of years in Texas. And like, I don't know, there's, it does nothing besides build more pressure. And you know that, but you continue to grow and you continue to move. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Let me know when you're going to Texas. We'll pop up down there with you.
Oh, dude, for sure. It'll be exciting and it'll be really, really cool for sure.
Located in the Knob Hill building over here, Upox Media.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. It's I don't think people it's so hard to explain and get people to understand, you know.
Yeah.
Like I even just I do a pretty good job of keeping work at work and, you know, not bringing stress home, but even just trying to, you know, explain to my wife or get her to understand like what I'm dealing with. It's hard.
It is hard. It is for sure. I don't think anybody, I agree with you. No one understands that unless they've done it themselves. And even when I say, you know, we're a landscape company and they're like, well, what's so stressful about that? Yeah, everything. I mean, just what we just talked about.
Yeah.
You have all these employees. You have
Try
all
just
this
cutting
overhead.
payroll.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. It is a lot to carry. And it is a lot to disconnect from sometimes.
Yeah.
My wife and I, Jamie, we work together every day. So
Yeah.
keeping work from home is really hard. And she does a lot better job of it than I do, and I'm trying to learn from her about that.
Does that put a lot of stress on relationship, or
Well,
you guys do pretty good at keeping it?
I think we do very good at keeping it out of like not personal, but just we don't let it affect our relationship too much. We are able to separate it, but again, everything is dependent. It makes more pressure, honestly.
Yeah.
You're both working there,
Right.
so there's no parachute.
Right.
There's no thing to fall back on, man.
This is what we're doing.
It is, and it wasn't always that way. She came in full time to the business in 2020, so that was again growing. And let's just throw some more stress on it. You come work here too.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about when you don't have that parachute.
Yeah.
There is.
I always say I don't know how people start businesses when they have kids, because
man.
like it's just working 10, 12 hours a day like I used to. I just can't imagine doing that to grow this business I did.
Right. No, I'm with you. I don't know. Like I said, I think
you guys have kids?
I do not. So
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know how to even imagine that either. I don't even know where that would fit in. I remotely, I do not know. All those long days, all those long hours, the weekends, all the things, it is hard to turn it off.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, for me, it's became something that I absolutely love to do. So I don't think of it as work. Honestly, I don't. I love building things. I love the next project. I love the current project. I love all that. I love the challenge of managing the staff and coordinating and logistics and all of that. The pressure, all of that. Like I said, there's something about it. I mean, this is the most chaotic time of the year for us right now. The rains, projects from last year finishing, new ones, new employees, new processes, all the a new building. I mean, all the things. I love the chaos.
Yeah.
I do. I don't know why. I can't explain what part.
Yeah.
But I love the deadlines. I love the chaos. I don't know. I can't say why.
Yeah.
I
takes the right person,
I
man.
can't.
Yeah. Takes the right person to do it all.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no explanation for it, but it's definitely a different thing every day. It's never boring, ever. It's always challenging. You never get the least amount of complacent, like, ever. With growing your business and all things changing, man. So we just got back from an aquascape trip to Vegas, and somebody asked me, "Hey, did you do any gambling?" I'm like, "No, I don't gamble at all." I go, "I gamble every day here. Like, every day of my life is a gamble. Like, all of it is."
Yeah.
Do you want to buy another place? Sure. Let's see how that works. We could use another showroom. That our visibility would be great. We'd have this many more leads. Okay, let's do that. My wife Jamie's like, "Oh my God, what are we doing now?" So I don't know, man. If you got to recognize the opportunity, if it's for you, if it's not, and take it.
Yeah, I mean, especially something like that, and that's what I've talked to various people recently about things, and them either like wanting to change careers or wanting to do this or that, and even myself, things I want to do or try, or and what I've always tell people is like, I think that in any of those situations, you just stay open-minded to opportunities, and they usually will come your way.
They do. I agree. Like I said,
you just got to be open-minded to them.
You do. You got to recognize that whether it is good or bad for you, and if you should take it or not, but be open-minded about it, because they do come, and sometimes they come when you're not looking, and sometimes you don't see them, and they're right in front of you.
Yeah.
But definitely open-minded. Don't immediately be negative. Don't immediately be like, "Nah, it's not for me." Don't think it through. Like I said, that lady approached me. I had not even remotely thought about a second location. I had not even any of that. I mean, I didn't know if she was looking to sell that place, so I wouldn't have had any idea.
Yeah.
But as I started to think about it, I'm like, man, we're out of office space already at our north location, and I want to hire another designer. Where am I going to put them? Where am I going to put myself? Like, and then I'm like, wow, man, this could be another like showroom on the west side. It'd be great visibility. And literally, my wife and I talked about it, and it went from just this crazy thought to like within 2 weeks, we're like, let's do it.
Let's get it going.
Let's do it. And yeah, like I said, at first, if I would have just not been open minded to it, I wouldn't even have thought about it.
No.
I'd be like, nah, I don't need another. I don't want to deal with that. But I did see an opportunity, and as it's evolved over this year of owning it, and now what work we're happening and the momentum I'm getting from that place.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
Yep. I can feel it now.
Well, we're lucky to have you here in Springfield, and you guys are doing some awesome things. You got a couple open houses. Are those public? Do you want to share those?
Sure. We do have an open house at our north location, which is up on Camp Sangamo. That is on Saturday, April 12th, so a week from this Saturday, 9 to 3. Our open houses are kind of a chance for anybody to kind of meet all of our staff. We'll have our field guys there. We'll have designers there. We'll have salespeople. Most of our staff is usually there. We usually serve some drinks and some food and have live music. But it's a chance.
You guys always put on a good.
Yeah, thank you.
Whether it's Chamber of Commerce or whatever it is.
Yeah, we like to do that too. Yeah. So we like to build beautiful places that you can entertain on. So it kind of fits with the whole thing. But it's a chance for people to kind of, like I said, meet everybody that's on the staff, different parts of the staff. We have our shop open. We have the whole place open, so people can walk around the shop, walk to the back to see where we have our storage of our equipment, and all that's on display. So get a really good of a behind-the-scenes look at what we do. And then on May 17th, Saturday, we are having our first open house at our to-be-finished new showroom over here on Old Jacksonville Road. Same thing. It's from 9 to 3 on that Saturday. Drinks, food, live music. But that'll be our first one over there. We have a ribbon cutting on Friday the 16th. So
that'll be awesome, man.
Yeah, pretty tight self-imposed deadline.
I know it's tough to stack it all on and keep things moving. I've been trying to say no to more things this year.
I need to do that better too.
That was one of the things I told myself at the beginning of the year. I was like, I got to say no to more stuff. I just, again, I see like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Like, we weren't even going to do the St. Patrick's Day parade. And, I got asked by a couple of the board members, like, you going to be in it again? Like 2 or 3 different times. Man. And I was like, all right, I guess we'll do it. So we threw it. And I do love doing it, but it was just one of those things. You got to build the float and get ready and ask your team to come out on a Saturday.
It's like we talked about building a whole water feature on our float and all these things. We had these great ideas when it was like February.
Yeah.
And then we're like, you guys want to do this about 2 weeks before? Like, why don't we just pull a trailer and everybody can ride on it? Yeah. I'm like, okay, let's just do that.
Make it a little easier. Yeah.
Let's just do that. But
you guys have done some awesome projects, man. Lucky to have you here in Springfield. Excited to be teaming up with you
likewise
to do stuff. It's definitely fun already. I love seeing the stuff that we're putting together, and definitely appreciate the business. And your guys' new place is going to be awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So
appreciate it.
Encourage everyone to check them out if they have not. If you have not, what's your website?
knobhilllandscape.com.
Yeah, and if you're looking for an amazing outdoor space, be sure to reach out to them. They'll give you a beautiful rendering of it. And find them online, Nob Hill Landscape Company, Facebook, TikTok, everything.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Well, appreciate it, Landon.
Yep. Thank you. I do too.